Hello, I'm Jeff Patterson. Today we are going to look at a traditional Yichuan training session. We're going to start with a warm-up series, go into some strengthening and some rooting exercises, some standing meditation, test a power exercise, and a walking exercise, and kind of link these together. There's many different ways that we can do this practice. Sometimes we would finish it with some push hand exercises, but today I'm going to show you a nice series. And this video is designed so you can use this to follow me as you're doing your own personal practice. Once you have it memorized, of course, you can do it on your own. What I recommend is maybe just getting it down where you can memorize it first, doing it for the lengths of time that I'm doing it here. And then when you do it on your own, you can adjust that. And maybe for the strengthening side, instead of doing 5 minutes, you do 20 minutes. You know, you can kind of adjust that and fit whatever intensity level you want to do or focus level, depending on what kind of benefits you want to get from the practice. So we're going to go ahead and start with some simple warm-up exercises. So we'll start with the feet hip width, outsides of the feet are parallel, the knees are unlocked and slightly bent, and then we're just going to swing the arms up and down. And we usually do maybe 15 or 20 repetitions here, just relaxed, using the legs up and down. And then this next exercise you can do in a narrow stance depending on your hip, knee, ankle stability, if you have any injuries or anything, or if you don't have any injuries, I want you to sit down a little bit, bend the knees, and we're going to be working on pushing from one side to the other, keeping the foot flat. So we don't want to be as like pivoting and turning the heel up, whether you're in the narrow stance or the wide stance. And from this one, we're just going to swing left and right, pushing in from this back foot to come here. And now I'm going to push into this heel and come to the other side. Notice how I'm sitting down and standing up in every repetition. And relax. And the last warm-up exercise we're going to do, we can do this by lifting the knee up, or you might come through and just roll up to your toe. Depending on your stability, maybe you have some knee replacements, something, whatever's going on with your level right now, you just adjust. So you might just roll up to the toe when we're doing these, or you can pick the knee up as high as the waist and do like this. So we're going to start with the arms crossed. And when we open the arms, you raise the knee. When you close the arms, you set it down. So we're going to do this kind of in a swinging motion, so it'll be a little bit faster. And again, I might just be rolling up to the toes like this, or I can be picking up the knees and kind of marching in place. When I'm back, the palms are up, and then cross. And again, we're just going through some of these warm-up exercises just to get the body ready for the training session we're going to do. This training session could be fairly intense, or you could lighten the load, do a little bit less range of motion, maybe shorten the time for yourself, and be a little bit more relaxed as well. All right, so the first exercise we're going to do from a wide stance. I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do first. If you have knee, hip, any kind of injuries, anything you're working through, and it's hard for you to sit down low, what I want you to do is you're going to start with a hip width stance. Palms are going to be as high as your waist when you're in the up position. And when you're in the up position, it's not with locked out knees. It's only about 95, 98% extension. So you're still a little bit, this is my up position, I could still come here and lock out the knees. So from here, you might only go up and down 1 or 2 inches. So when you're sitting down, it might look like this. And then stand up. And when you're standing up, again, I'm only coming to that 95, 98% extension and then sitting back down. I'm never coming up and locking out the knees and then going back down. Now, here is the important part. With this exercise, we're never going to come up to the top and relax or go down to the bottom and pause. So I want you to follow my rhythm, and I'm going to be going deeper and in a wider stance, sitting down and standing up. And when I sit down, my energetic movement with the hands is lifting up. So my hands are going to stay the same elevation to the floor even when I'm in this down position. And then when I'm standing up, I'm pushing down with the hands. So I would visualize like I have rubber bands tied to my hands and my elbows and my forearms and my shoulders. And when I sit down, I'm stretching those rubber bands that are tied from my hands to the floor up. And now when I stand up, the rubber bands are tied to the ceiling and I'm pushing them down. So I have that energetic up and down, whether I'm doing in a wide stance or the narrow stance. If I'm doing this and it takes 6 seconds to sit down and you're doing this one, it's going to take you 6 seconds to move down that inch. So you're going to need to go slower than me, because I want you not to go to the bottom and relax or go to the top and relax. We're going to open and immediately close, just like we're breathing. There's not going to be any pause at the bottom or any pause at the top. So again, we will begin palms facing the floor, about hip height. Sit down. Stand up. Only coming up to that 95, 98%, and then immediately right back down again. So I want you to visualize putting power in this movement. So almost as if you were in a swimming pool without water, and your hands are on the side of the pool. Your feet can't touch the bottom, you're in the deep end. You're letting yourself down. So if you're 150 pounds, you're letting down 150 pounds with your hands, and then pushing 150 pounds up out of the pool with your hands. So you're very active energetically through this movement. The breath is smooth and even. Fingers are softly expanding. Remember those rubber bands. Lifting up, stretching down. Remember, when you're doing this, you can push yourself or not push yourself to whatever comfort level is right for you. Sometimes we will do this up and down movement like this for a half an hour or even 45 minutes. And even if you're in great shape, that's going to leave pools of sweat on the floor. You can push yourself. And even if you're only doing 10 minutes, if visually and isometrically, you're putting a lot of intensity into those movements, thinking about really pushing and pulling with the hands, you can make this exercise very challenging. We're doing a little bit of a shorter session today, just to teach you how to do one of these Yichuan workouts. But as you learn it and understand the details of the movement, you can adjust it and push it to your own comfort level. All right, next exercise, we're going to move into a basic standing meditation practice. Our feet are going to be parallel on the outside of the foot, so the toes are going to be lightly turned in. And again, we don't want the knees locked out. We're going to sit down a little bit, maybe only an inch or two in the legs. Now, think about like you're hanging from a string. So the tailbone is going to be directly underneath the center of the top of the head. We're not going to be forward or back. It's going to be perfectly vertical. In this posture, I want you to listen and try to feel your central equilibrium so you can subtly rock front and back, left and right, and kind of feel that spot that is the easiest place to be upright. Now slowly bring the fingertips up the abdomen to the chest and open into that number one posture. Now in this position, again, we're sitting down, letting go of all the tension through the body, relaxing the organs, sinking into the stance, letting all the muscles in the arms, the chest, the back, the legs try to relax while maintaining that upright position and that expanded position. The fingers are softly spreading apart. It's almost like you're reaching around a big yoga ball, but you can't quite touch the other side. Lightly tuck your chin, lengthen the back of the neck, tip of the tongue at the roof of the mouth, soft, light smile with the back of the throat, bow forward lightly at the waist, and we'll relax here for a few minutes. When you're doing the standing meditation, you want to try to have the breath be natural and relax. You're not trying to stretch it out or work pauses at the top or the bottom of the breath, just trying to be still. Anywhere you may feel tension in the body, breathe into that area and try to let go. And with every exhale breath, we're focusing on letting go of that tension and sinking into the feet. And just as we mentioned with the last exercise, you might do this for 3 minutes, you might do this for 20 minutes. I recommend finding somewhere between that 6 and 12 minute session for you in the beginning until you can be relaxed throughout the time in the position, not build up too much tension where you feel discomfort. Try to think about sinking and rooting yourself in the stance. After we finish our standing posture here, again for the video purposes, we're only doing 3 or 4 minutes. Now we're going to go into the test of power exercise. And the first test of power exercise I'm going to teach you in this series is maintaining the structure of our standing meditation. And you're going to pull the hands in and up, a little bit higher than the temples, and then turn the palms down, press the hands down, sitting down with the entire body, and then pushing the hands forward. Now we're going to go back to that rubber band visualization. And when I'm in this position, my rubber bands are tied down to the bottom of the floor about 20 feet in front of me. And I'm pulling those rubber bands back, stretching them up towards my forehead, keeping the shoulders soft and relaxed. Now the rubber bands are tied to the ceiling, and I've got one on each finger. I've got them on my wrist and my elbow, so everything's moving independently. And I'm stretching those rubber bands, sinking down. Now the rubber bands are tied to the wall behind me, and I'm stretching them forward. Back, down, out. Again, just like with the other exercises, keeping this a little bit on the short side, so the video will only be maybe 20 to 30 minutes long. Once you understand the movement and the idea of linking everything together, you can extend it for as long as you like. In a lot of traditional Yichuan classes, this series that I'm showing you in this 25-30 minute video will take a whole hour to go through. Now, we're going to move into the walking. And when we're doing the walking, we're going to continue this test of power exercise. And if you're in a room that's 50 feet long, you can do this exercise the whole length of the room. Because I'm trying to stay in the camera, I'm going to show you maybe only going to take 4 or 5 steps forward and then 4 or 5 steps on the retreat. So when we're doing this, we're going to start with our feet parallel and turned out about maybe 20 degrees. So when we step, and this is very important, I don't want to step like this. So if you look at me in the camera, my stance, if I was to draw that front foot straight back, would hit my other heel. This is incorrect. I want to have at least 1 fist width between my heels in my stance. So when I'm in that standing posture, it's going to be like this. So as I'm walking down the floor, it's going to be a little bit of a zigzag left and right. So as I open up the hips and turn, I'm going to step forward and shift. Now this foot's at 20 degrees out this side, this foot's 20 degrees in the back, but if I was to draw a straight line back with that foot, there's that fist width distance between the heels. So we're going to start with the test of power exercise, back and up, down and out. Back, down, out. And in the beginning, go ahead and pause and look down and just make sure that you're keeping the good distance between your feet when you step. Nice relaxed breath. Inhale back. Exhale, settle and forward. Inhale back. Settle. And forward. Now, if you get to the end of the space, you can do the same thing on the retreat. Back. Settle. And shift. And again, you might only take 3 or 4 steps forward and back, or 50, depending on how much space you have to move. And relax. You might do this forward and back 3, 4, 5, 10 times, whatever is comfortable for your time limitations for your training session. Again, we're keeping this a little short for the video. When you finish with that, I like to finish with a little bit of a settling exercise. So we could go back to the standing posture for a few breaths, and even if it's only 2 or 3 minutes, check back in, sink, softly posture, expand. Also at this point, if we were having training partners around, we could move into push hand exercises. After we stand, anywhere between 3, 6 minutes to finish and settle, turn the palms in towards each other and slowly expand on the inhale and press on the exhale. I want you to feel a soft connection from one palm to the other, almost as if you were pulling apart a big ball of cotton on the inhale and squishing it together on the exhale. Continue to relax the shoulders. Palms face the floor. Now that ball of cotton is between your palms and the floor. Inhale up. Exhale down. Lower the hands, shake out the wrists, body, and relax. So that is a very traditional way where we run through and train the Yichuan. It's a very good practice for working our root and our stability. And whether you're doing Tai Chi or really any other martial art, this practice is very helpful to learn how to develop a good foundation, really break down the weight shifting and learning how to be in control and powerful through the weight shift. There's a lot of things that you'll notice on the subtler side of your practice by doing these exercises. So hopefully you have enjoyed the lesson. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel below. If you have any questions, let me know and I'll try to get back to you. I appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you in the next session.